Hello there everybody, it is Believing in Bruce, the channel where we help you get inside your own head so you can think, feel and act that little bit better. So tonight I am doing a body language analysis on Prince Andrew. Is he telling the truth or not? Is he lying or not? These are all the questions that I'm being asked. Now, since my last body language analysis on KSI and Logan Paul at the first press conference in London went viral, yeah, it absolutely went viral with nearly 400,000 views on a worldwide basis. Thank you very much for that. I thought, oh, there's something interesting here. People seem to be interested in the work that I do. So, stay tuned. And remember, it doesn't mean about body language that somebody's lying. But if I was the interviewer, and if they'd done something, I would just start to price it open a little bit more, because biology does not lie. Remember, we talked about verbal and non-verbal language. Yeah, we're looking for a thing called synchrony. Is the body lining up with what the words are saying? If not, let's explore, because there's something lying there. Do they do something that possibly shouldn't have happened? Or is it an uncommon body language reaction? Yeah, non-verbal reaction that goes against what they're saying? Let's explore that a little bit more. If you like body language analysis or anything like this, please subscribe below. Hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up. That would be awesome of you. So stay with me for this journey. Let's just put a little bit of context here. Yeah, so Prince Andrew was a friend with an American who had a lot of money. This American was found guilty of a number of crimes. This American is no longer with us, but Prince Andrew is. Prince Andrew has been silent for quite a long time on this area. And absolutely, one can understand that. However, for some, infinite wisdom, he's decided to come public to a certain extent and invite a news reporter, an interviewer, whatever you want to call this nice lady, into a meeting type situation where he's going to answer some questions. He is going to answer some questions that people have been dying for him to answer. So we will look at the footage, yeah, in a little bit more detail as the observer, which is one of the most powerful positions you can do. Not actually asking the questions, but watching the questions being asked. When you're sitting back and you've got nothing else to do other than observe the person who the questions are being asked of. What we're looking for is that emotional baseline. It is a high-risk environment for any individual, for me, for you. If you were in this champ's position, you would be nervous too. So what we're doing, we're going to take that into account, and we're trying to say, okay, throughout this interview, what is that baseline? What is that emotional, standard that he sticks to? Because that will be present in any given environment. There'll be that baseline. But if anything happens above or if anything happens below, boom, we're going to drag on. We're going to pull it apart. We're going to highlight this here. If that was us, what do we think? And would we dig that little bit deeper? Remember, it doesn't mean that he's lying. You cannot conclude that. It's not as black and white as some people would think. But if you're the interviewer and he'd done something that didn't line up, that non-verbal language didn't line up with the verbal, yeah, his body was doing something that his voice wasn't backing up, let's dig that little bit deeper. So the first thing we're going to talk about is eye blocking. Yeah. Prince Andrew gets asked about his relationship with, his friendship with the American, Jeffrey Epstein. And you'll see straight away what he does is a number of things, what we call eye blocks. You refer to them as blinks. But what this is a number of, he's trying to shut out the images. Whatever is going on inside his head, he's just shutting these images out. And again, that's above his emotional baseline. Up until that point, people do blink. It's not, it's not a staring competition. Generally, when you try to stare, you're actually trying to overprove a point, which is something that he does later on in the video. However, when Prince Andrew gets asked the question about his relationship, and this is, I think, is about 56 seconds into the interview, you'll see that he has a number of rapid blinks. Yeah, number of rapid blinks.
All of this goes back to your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. How did you with Jeffrey Epstein? How did you with Jeffrey Epstein? How did you with Jeffrey Epstein?
How did you...
So did you see that? The blinks there. Again, doesn't mean he's lying, just means there's something else going on inside his head that he's battling with, yeah, as well as the verbalization that he's given. So the second example here I would like to just explore a little bit more is she asks him, was that his appeal? That he was a connector, that he could bring people together. And Andrew says something, but his head does something differently. Let's have a look.
Was that his appeal then? Was that what you... Because you... That what you... Because you...
You see that he's saying, yeah, but his head's saying that. What's going on in his head at that particular time? I will be delving in there. Again, we haven't got that synchrony. This one's quite interesting. This is one of the rare occasions through the whole of this, this is the whole of the interview from the start to the finish, we're looking for that emotional baseline where he cuts the interviewer off. And it's when she mentions other members of the royal family. Yeah, you can see there's almost that fight or flight. He needs to respond. You'll see that movement in him. And he comes and he starts to try and, take over the interview. One of the few occasions where, even when he's been really interrogated by her about the stuff that he's been accused of, very rarely does he actually interrupt. Like, he lets her finish her questions, then he gives a calm and methodical type answer most of the time. Yeah, but here you'll see she talks about the royal family and he starts to interrupt her.
He was brought right into the heart of the royal family at your invitation.
But certainly at my invitation.
So then he just likes to clarify, at my invitation. But you can see there's some type of defensive response here, which is unneeded at that particular time. She's not making any accusations, she's not doing anything, but something's happened in his head and his heart that's made him want to react, to defend.
There was no indication to me or anybody else that was what he was doing. There was no indication, absolutely no indication. And if there was...
Now this is really interesting and it's just a play on words. On the one hand he says there was no indication that anything like this was going on. Yeah, no indication at all. But then he says, but if there was...
There was no indication to me or anybody else that was what he was doing. There was no indication, absolutely no indication. And if there was...
Well, hold on a second. Is it black or is it white? Is it one or is it two? There was no indication, but if it was... He seems very sure there was no indication, but then he starts to talk about that actually there may be a possibility. Now you'll see here he's talking about having a walk in the park, and that, I think that is around about that famous or infamous photograph where he has been photographed with his friend in the park. I think he's just been released from jail. So there's a load of bad PR hanging about him, and here he is, Prince Andy in the park having a chin wag. And again, it's about that normal baseline. You'll see as he's talking about it, have a walk in the park, and then just watch his foot. His foot flicks up.
And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
Yeah. Now that could indicate he's talking about the walk in the park. Maybe he's bringing that to the forefront of his memory. Or it could indicate some energy about what was going on that particular... What was the conversation that was going on? Because again, he talks about it and then his foot flicks up. And again, when you're looking at body language, as a rule of thumb, here, when we're looking for that synchrony, the non-verbal to the verbal, generally when something's been said, that's that tipping point. 2 seconds before, 2 seconds after. At a push, 3 seconds before, 3 seconds after. Look for something, ideally it's at the same time, but a little bit before, a little bit after. What were they saying and what was the body language doing at that particular time? That gives you the key, the KPI if you will, should we dig a little bit further. If they say something here and then 15 seconds down the line they do something, not interested. Yeah, it's not linked. However, at around about that tipping point, if what they say is accompanied by a body action and it's not lining up, let's dig that little bit further.
And we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park.
So you see that little foot flick there, that would be me. Oh, I'll be noticing that. I'll be inquiring that little bit more. So this is a bit where I'm just confused. And again, I'm human. I'm allowed to offer that I'm confused as well. The interviewer is asking, why did you go and meet him again? Why were you there for the walk in the park? Yeah, and Prince Andrew says that he was there because he wanted to do the honourable thing. The honourable thing. You are a member of the royal family and you wanted to go to see someone who's been convicted of these sexual offences, and you wanted to go because it was the honourable thing to do.
With the benefit of all the hindsight that one can have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do.
You can understand why the public puts that together and thinks, actually, the only reason why you went to see him is because you had something that you needed to cover up. Why couldn't you do it on a call? Why couldn't you do it on Skype? Why couldn't you say, hey, you're being convicted, I'm a member of the royal family, we've got our standards and stuff that he talks about later on in the interview, that's us done. Why did not even get some, why not just cut all ties together? The guy was, convicted of sexual offences. So he talks about something that he says, I want to do the honourable thing. It doesn't seem to go. That's just a question that I'm holding. Doesn't mean it's anything, it's just a question. So this part here, he is asked about receiving a foot massage from a young Russian woman.
Getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
No.
You're absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
So John Brockman's statement is false.
Well, I don't know Mr. Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Jeffrey Epstein's house.
No.
At which point his eyes go all over. This is the first time I've noticed this. His eyes go all over as if he's doing an exaggerated search. Yeah, he's been asked numerous questions up until this point here, but he's now done an exaggerated search. I'm thinking, okay, what's happened? He then blinks at certain times when he's going to give an answer. That's that eye block. What image is he shutting off in his head? What image lies within there that if I was the interviewer, I'd be trying to pull apart?
Getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
No.
You're absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
So John Brockman's statement is false.
Well, I don't know Mr. Brockman, so I don't know what he's talking about.
But that definitely wasn't you getting a foot massage from a Russian girl in Jeffrey Epstein's house.
No.
Alright, so there's a really good question asked here. In fact, there's a series of questions, but she asks one right at the end that seems to have some effect on him. And it's, did you not cut ties or announce you were cutting ties because you felt that he had some type of compromising, that he could compromise you? And you'll see at the moment when he says no, his eyes start to blink furiously. There's some images in his head there.
Actually happened.
So why wouldn't you announce this breakup when you got back? Why wouldn't you publicly explain what you'd done? Did you worry that he had something that could compromise you?
No. No.
Do you?
No. No.
Do you?
That's what the eye blocking is. You can't lie with biology. Biology does not lie. There's some images that he's shutting off. Now, we don't know what they are. We don't know the positive and negative. But he's definitely shutting off images because that's what you get from the eye blocking. And if I was the interviewer, I'd be starting to go in there. So up until this point here, Prince Andrew has adopted what's called steepling. So it's this type of, it's a powerful hand gesture. I am in control. I have got the driving seat here. And she asks him a certain question.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No, I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever. You don't remember meeting her?
See what he's doing here? That thumb is going down. That's all you need to know. There's a little wiggle of the leg, but the biggest one here is the thumb. You got a cluster. Yeah, the little wiggle of the leg, a bit nervous energy. Okay, we can expect that. But put it together with the I'm suppressing something. I am suppressing something here. Again, it doesn't mean he's lying, but there's something that's residing in here that's not matching up. We haven't got that synchrony.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No, I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever. You don't remember meeting her?
Dig a little further. And then they start talking about this photograph that Prince Andrew is denying all knowledge of. No, that wasn't me. I have no recollection of this. I don't know her. He starts giving which might be a valid reason. You know, this photograph is a photograph of another photograph taking another photograph, so we can't know if it's fake or not. Yeah, we can't know if it's fake or not, which again, that could be a valid statement. But this is the photograph that they're referring to. Does that look real to me? Actually, we just don't know. But this is the big one for me. Again, watch what the body does. Biology doesn't lie. You can say what you want, but the body's giving off signals here. Now, at this particular point, she asks him, would he be, willing to, under oath, testify? And almost immediately he starts swinging his head. He's given an answer that says, actually, I'll think about it. But he starts swinging his head. Now, this may be fear. Would I do it? Possibly. Would you do it? Possibly. Again, but we're looking for that synchrony. Synchrony is not present here. Yeah, you can see the swinging of the head.
You seem utterly convinced you're telling the truth. Would you be willing to testify or give a statement under oath if you were asked?
Well, I'm like everybody else, and I would have to take all the legal advice that there was before I was to do that sort of thing. But if push came to shove, and the legal
What is really beautiful is the reflux, is the gag. It's almost like he's just done that with his finger. Yeah, where he's talking, bearing in mind he's been talking for 40 minutes now and he's never done this. He's never done this at all. So we've got 40 minutes of emotional baseline. We've got 40 minutes of how Prince Andrew is within this interview, within this setting, being asked all of these, high-risk questions, and this is the only time that he does it. Would you be prepared under oath to go public with this and actually make, that testify? And it's the reflux that happens here.
You seem utterly convinced you're telling the truth. Would you be willing to testify or give a statement under oath if you were asked?
Well, I'm like everybody else, and I would have to take all the legal advice that there was before I was to do that sort of thing. But if push came to shove, and the legal
And you watching this, you will be aware of this, reaction as well. If you've ever been asked something, yeah, and you feel like you are under the cosh, you feel like you may have to tell a lie, you feel like you're going to get into trouble, you'll feel yourself swallow. Yeah. Who's ate the chocolate? Have you done this? It's that swallow. Yeah, bang, straight away. Biology does not lie. There is a nervous response going on there. And it just, for me, this is the beautiful thing to ask. It's the matter of, okay, now, are you going to bring this to court? Are you under oath going to give this information? Now, put all that together. What I noticed with Prince Andrew over that, 50-minute interview, whatever it was, is there was lots of times where I actually believed he was telling the truth. Unequivocally, boom, because he had a nice flow to him. It was if he was having a chat with his best mate, obviously not the US best mate, he's no longer with us. He should choose his best mates more carefully. But as if he was having a chat with his best mate. It was just flowing. But when he felt the pressure, that's when you started seeing his normal baseline change, up and down, up and down, up and down. It doesn't mean that he's lying. You can't take anything from that. But what you can do is say, unequivocally, that what was going on in his head, and what was coming out via non-verbal body language was not lining up at all with the words that he was given at that particular time. So again, just some subtle points to pick up on. The blink of the eye, the dash of the foot, the thumb suppression going on there, the reflux action. These are all things to just ponder and think, okay, what is actually going on here? Does it mean he's lying? Does it not? Does it mean he's telling the truth? Does it not? Do I think he's lying? God save the Queen. Believe in Bruce, helping people think, feel and act that little bit better.